Hello. Welcome to the Freedom Zone podcast. So, this is episode 1. So, today I would like to just give a basic breakdown of the things I'd like to cover and my overall goal for this podcast. So, my overall goal for this podcast is to give you, as the listener, as much value as possible in all areas of life and in anywhere that I feel that I could add value. That includes financial tips, business ideas. That includes access to resources and tools and tips and tricks, as I said, that you could leverage in your day-to-day life and business to where you can get success on a large scale with whatever it is that you're doing. The techniques, the things I shall be discussing is, keep in mind, subject to primarily the United States and Canada, but there are principles and going to be aspects of it that you can take and apply to your country's rules, regulations, legalities, so on and so forth. I do plan to make this a global podcast where anybody in any part of the world can take my tips, take my advice, and they can run with it and they can apply it in their own life, and they can hopefully get some value out of this and improve their life. So if I end up changing your life in some way, shape, or form, please do me the favor just of sharing this podcast, getting the word out, and sharing the love and appreciating it and letting me know. I'd love to hear from you as well, get DMs from you. I love hearing from people, hearing feedback, ideas. If people want to hear new subjects, new things to cover, new topics to discuss, I'm always open. I'm considering eventually opening up a Patreon account where I can have people as part of a private community that's going to be discussed with our team. And so there's a lot of things in the works. And as I said, my goal for this podcast is overall to just bring as much value to you as the listener. So for this first subject, I just want to dive into something basic, which is goal setting. So goal setting should be something that is not overthought, because I feel like a lot of people, could be just me, but there's a lot of aspects of our life where we make a goal, right? Let's say it's our New Year's goals lists. But the problem is so many people create those goals and then they never end up following through with those goals, right? So what's the problem there? There's a disconnect between the writing down of the goal and the intention of the goal and actually making it happen, right? So what we need to do is you need to sit down and you need to analyze what is actually the separating factor that is getting you and holding you back from going from point A to point Z. Point A being writing down the goal, point Z being actually accomplishing and getting that done. So what you need to do is you need to break that bigger goal. Let's say it's a 5-year goal, a 1-year goal, whatever it might be. If you take that goal and break it down into multiple micro goals in a step-by-step fashion with step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that one big goal doesn't look so big after all, if you look at it that way, right? So for an example, task 1, let's say, and then there's also the aspect of discipline, right? And sticking with that, if it is small, right? So there's going to be 2 sectors. Let's say you have your daily must-dos, daily action plan, right? And these are things that you're going to do every day, non-negotiables, right? They could be your morning routine. It could be your diet. It could be exercise. It could be whatever. Things that can help your mental thought processes and just improve your overall health and just improve your performance on a larger scale, right? So there's that. Then there's going to be the variable, variable goals and steps, right? To accomplishing, keep in mind, we're talking about accomplishing goals or mini micro goals or targets within a bigger goal, right? Um, so, for example, if let's say, as I said, your morning routine is part of that, let's say breakfast, you know, if you have a job, for example, some of you probably have a job, some of you might be entrepreneurs, some of you might be actually working on a business, starting a business, you might have a business going already and you're doing stuff. Like, I feel like you got to find what works for you in terms of a morning routine because nobody's the same, right? Nobody's going to have the same exact routine that's going to work best for them, right? So you have to figure out and experiment and document what works for you and what doesn't, right? So you got to analyze it. So say during over 1 week, right? You end up trying, for an example, drinking coffee first thing in the morning and slamming a big bottle of water, right? For an example, right? Now, if you do that and you're still exhausted after that, then clearly that's not working. Now, on the other hand, if you wake up and you go for a 10-minute run first thing in the morning, and let's say your wake up time is 6 a.m. If you're some of you are probably listening to this going, God, heck no, that's way too early for me. Well, you know, you got to find that time that's right for you, right? 6 a.m. might be too early for you. If it's 8 a.m., okay, 5 a.m., 4 a.m. So I know some of you entrepreneurs out there, you guys are waking up at like 4 in the morning, and that is great. Get it. Because if you just got to find what's going to set your mind in the right state of mind from the beginning, right? Because if you start your mind in the right state for the very beginning of the day, you're going to finish, or you're most likely to continue that pattern throughout the day. Yes, granted, you might have something that comes along in your day that throws you off kilter, but the likelihood of that happening and ruining and offsetting your entire day is a lot less if you start your day on a good note and on a consistent note versus all over the place, you know, depressed thoughts, whatever, this, that, bouncing around, right? So, first thing, get a little mini routine that works, right? As I said, whether that be drinking coffee, drinking water, drinking a smoothie, doing 10 push-ups and jumping jacks, whatever it might be to like get your head going. Put in some earbuds like I have, right? And, you know, you're like, oh, but I can't afford that right now. Okay, go get some cheap ones, right? Go to, you know, if you really want something, you're going to figure out a way. You can afford $15. That's a couple bucks a day, right? Like anybody can afford that. It doesn't have to be the top of the line AirPods or the top of the line anything, right? As long as you have something, right? That's kind of starting point, right? For some of you, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, I'm Eugene, I'm way beyond that. I'm way above, like I'm already there. I'm making money. I don't need that, right? Which is great. Good for you, right? But now we got to work on getting you to the higher level above that, right? But for those of you who are still down there, find that morning routine, find what's working, and yeah, put music in, find, test, and experiment what kind of music gets you into a good energy state, makes you feel good, starts off your morning. Put on positive, like, I don't want to say positive affirmations necessarily, just something that gets you pumped and something that gives you that little rush of energy and adrenaline first thing, and dopamine first thing in the morning, right? Because if you have that and you're able to give that to yourself first thing in the morning, as I said, your day is going to probably go way better than it would normally. So if you make that a habit, every day is going to start off amazing, right? Then you got to get a consistent daily method of operations when it comes to your work, right? So if you're working a job, you'll do your morning routine and then you time it within a time frame that's reasonable for you to get to work on time, right? Commuting time, that's not a word, but commuting time, you know, basically travel time, whatever it is, however long it's going to take you to get to your work, you're going to create that, right? And you're going to put that into your schedule. You're also going to put in and block out the time that you are at work, right? Depending on your job, if you're able, I don't condone, being distracted while at work and not prioritizing your job while you're at work. You should be giving it your all. Even though it sucks, you should be giving it your all while you're at work, because if you don't, you're obviously going to get fired. But your overall goal, if you're wanting to transition to entrepreneurship or full-time entrepreneurship, if you're not already there, should be to figure out how to make extra money on the side. So when on your breaks, you should be prioritizing eating lunch while listening to an audiobook that's teaching you new skill sets, listening to things that are going to help you, instead of watching that random cartoon show on your phone or scrolling on Facebook during that time. I know it sounds like, oh, well, Eugene, it's only 15-minute lunch break. Like, let me enjoy it. But, I would rather, some of you might not have this mindset yet, but I would rather spend that 15 to 30 minutes on my lunch break, or my 15 minutes that I get, listening to something that's going to improve my mentality and improve my mindset, than watch some silly cartoon, pardon my language, but some of you might get offended, triggered a little bit by that, because you're like, let me enjoy my time. But I'm here to give it to you straight. Like, let me ask you, is that cartoon video or that random scrolling, is that being productive or improving your life in any way, shape, or form, right? Think about it that way. Are you making money in that 15 minutes? If not, why not? And if not, do you want that to change? How badly do you want that to change? Because if that's not the case, every minute counts, including the 15 minutes that you are doing sitting at work. If you're sitting at work on your 15-minute smoke break, whatever it might be, you should be leveraging that time if you're serious about improving yourself. If you're not, that's fine. That's your choice. I'm all for whatever decision you want to do. My job at the end of the day is to just push you in the direction that's going to be best for you and what you want to do, right? If you don't want to listen to me, you don't want to do what you want, you're going to do what you're going to do anyway, that's fine. But I'm here to help guide people who want guidance, right? So what you should do is, while you're at work, put on motivational audios. Put on things, couple examples. There are some awesome podcasts that I listen to on a regular out there. Diamond Life podcast by Balazs W. Cardos. There is there's the Ed Milet show. It's a great one. There's a few out there. But honestly, find a podcast that's personal development related, and that is value driven, and that will not only inspire you, but give you actual critical logic behind every move, right? Behind the actions and the advice that they're giving you. That way, it's not just a rah fest. That's what I recommend, because don't get me wrong, it's great to get that rush of dopamine. It's great to get that excitement. You got this. You can do this. You can do anything you set your mind to. That's great and all, but to an extent, because if that's all you do, all you're ever going to do is you're going to get a high and then a crash, a high and then a crash. And if you're doing that, you may as well be smoking. And I don't want to put it bluntly that way, but it's just as bad in that sense, because it's not actually teaching you any skill sets. It's not actually teaching you any new skills or things that you can apply in your daily life or business, for that matter, that will move the needle forward. And if you're not doing that, then how do you ever imagine to accomplish those goals that you want to set for yourself? Doesn't matter how big or small they are, right? So that's what you got to do. Then, also, in that daily routine that I was telling you about, after your work, then you want to block out time. If you have a family, you want to block out a little bit of time for family time in there. Because, they say happy wife, happy life. Mission and purpose first if you're a man, of course. But at the same time, you definitely want to devote a little bit of family time, date and court your wife, hang out with the kids, do something. Even if it's only an hour, that's fine. Do it. I say that, and I'm in full support of that. So set an hour aside, dinner, whatever, gives that little bit of family time. And hustle in the morning, or if you have to, tell your spouse or significant other, look, hon, I have to devote and put my head down to this so that way in the next 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, however long it'll be before you hit those goals of financial freedom and time freedom, whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish, you're going to be able to say, hey, look, if I put my head down and take this seriously for this time frame, and you understand that this will happen, and if they respect you enough, they will listen. And I mean, honestly, I've seen it with tons of friends of mine. They did it, they put their head down, 5 years later, they retired their partner. Now, what are they doing? Traveling the world full time. And they love it. They're living life. They're living their dream. I'm not saying that that's necessarily your dream and that's the dream you should have or anything, but if that's what you want to do, great too. But whatever your dream may be, if your dream is to live out of a little log cabin in the lane and, just sit on the front porch and watch the sunset and the sunrise and just drink coffee on the front porch all day, great. Go right ahead. If that's what makes you happy and it don't cost you a dime, but you're sitting there stacked with cash, if that's what makes you happy, that's what I'm rooting for. That's what I'm trying to help you accomplish here. Whatever it is, if it's that jet lifestyle, whatever it might be, whatever that might be for you, I want to help you accomplish that. I just want to make that clear with all of you is I'm not here to try to push you into a certain direction or a certain lifestyle path or whatever. No. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here just giving you a framework with this episode of a daily action plan that will hopefully, and just a basic framework that will help you get along the right path for your life and business. So back to the daily action plan. So block in the family time so that way you can eventually live your life with your family full time. Devote more to your business in the evening or the morning, whatever is going to be best. If you feel like you're freshest in the morning and you're going to be able to get the most success out of your work in the morning, do your work in the morning. Wake up hours earlier. Wake up at 4 a.m. if that's what you have to do, and go to work on your business from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. 2 hours a day. That's all it'll take, right? If that's what you got to do, do it. And then spend your family time with your partner in the evening. If you're a single guy, and you just are busting your butt and you have all this spare time and you just want to make a ton of extra money, what I can tell you is you're going to want to just put as many hours in as possible. If you're a single guy or lady and you're just wanting to just put in the hours, grind mode 100% on, then put in those time hours and just work. Just work. Work hard. Put in 6 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours a day if you have the time. The more time you put into yourself, developing yourself, learning new skill sets, business. Great place to find courses. Not that many people, as I'm aware of, know about this. Udemy. Great platform to find new resources and courses. You can find pretty much every subject under the sun out there. I'm not going to tell you specifically what subjects to take, what teachers to listen to, because they're all, honestly, 99% of them are good. Just all generically or generally up to you what you want to go and study and what you want to actually learn about, right? They have every course under there, from how to study for college with ADHD to, basically studying for a mini MBA in business, right? Anything that you can think of. Team management, sales, marketing, funnels, ads, everything under the sun that you can think of, as I said, as a subject, they have. So structure your day in the after work, where you have at least a couple hours. Could be only 2, could be 4, could be 6, that you just put designated to the business. And within that time frame of 2 hours to 8 hours, 6 hours, however long it might be, give yourself step-by-step tasks or sections. Even break that 5 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever, however long it is, into chunks. What you're doing. Give yourself tasks. Okay, so today, do it on a day-to-day basis because every day changes. Sometimes there's hurdles, sometimes there's weird things, sometimes there's whatever, right? So, okay, so, for the first hour, I'm doing nothing but calls, right? Second hour, I'm doing nothing but follow-ups. Third hour, I'm doing nothing but research and planning, right? Fourth hour, I'm doing nothing but, whatever it could be, product development, whatever it might be. If there's team meetings, come up with a day-to-day, like on a day-to-day basis, plan during that day for that day of what you want to accomplish within that time period that you have to devote to your business. And structure that. And if you're sitting in the place where you're like, Eugene, I want to start a business, but I have no idea what to do. My top recommendation is like, find a passion, find something that you are absolutely excited about, something that you would work towards or work on, even if you didn't get paid a dime to do it, and it took money out of your pocket to make things worse, we'll say, right? But that you would still, despite the fact of pouring all this money into it, spending that time, spending that money, and doing that activity, that you would still want to do that activity. Now, doing something like drugs or sitting around on the front porch smoking weed all day or smoking cigarettes all day does not count. That's one activity that's not going to get you anywhere. Now, on the flip side, something along the lines of, okay, let's say something like baking. Just a simple example. Making, growing plants and selling them out of your backyard, a little side hustle, making crochet and knitted blankets, socks, towels, whatever, right? I mean, that takes time, obviously, but it's like, something like that you could do. I mean, why not? Buying and selling things on Marketplace. There are so many options out there that there's almost too many options of things you could do to leverage money. It's just actually, it's actually doing it. So what you want to do is you want to find something, as I said, that's going to bring you passion, bring you joy, bring you fulfillment, doing it whether you make a dime or not, and put all your time, effort, and energy into researching it initially, coming up with an action plan, and making a daily breakdown plan during the time that you're supposed to be devoting to that business on that, right? And studying it. Your first stage is going to look like doing initial research of the industry. How is there a market for it, right? Because that's another thing. You want to make sure that when you're doing that passion or that hobby, there's actually an opportunity to make income, right? Because if you're going to do it for no money, who cares, right? But if you actually genuinely want to make money from that side hustle or business, you want to find an industry and find a business that there is potential money to be made, right? You don't want to be doing something that's just going to like bring you nothing, right? So that's one thing you're going to have to do. And then also you're going to want to find a good product, service, or offer that, as I said, has high demand and is wanted by a lot of people, has a very large audience, right, of people who need it. And find a need, ideally. Ideally, it's something that there's a demand for, right, and is need. It could be an invention. If you have to invent something, just please, 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 if you're inventing something, creating something from scratch that doesn't exist already, do your research first to find out if it does exist or not. If it doesn't, then create it, but please figure out how, if you have to from your job or whatever, to make sure you get the money to patent that product that way, or even getting into phase of patent pending, so that way you don't lose your business because somebody else rips off your idea. So that's what I want to give in terms of value today. If you got value, please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you again for listening, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. share if you got some value as well. And I will see you guys on the next episode for episode 2. Cheers, Eugene, checking out.